أولى ثانوي، فرصة جديدة وحلم جديد وهنعديها بالتأكيد، وهنعديها بالتأكيد. أولى ثانوي.
Dear secondary stage students, year 1, welcome to our English program and welcome to our channel Madrasetna 3 under the supervision of the Ministry of Education. Today we are going to start Unit 11, Part 3. We are going to study together Chapter 11 of Treasure Island. We are going to discuss more about the details, more about the characters and the vocab which appeared in this chapter, and we are going to do revision on the whole unit. Let's start together. Our objectives for this lesson: by the end of the lesson, you will be able to discuss and evaluate the feeling and the behavior, the intentions of characters. You are going to identify the use and use the vocab. You are going to revise the vocab and the grammar of Unit 11. Why do you think Dr. Livesey and Silver was frightened? Why did Dr. Livesey think that Silver was frightened? Why do you think Silver was frightened? Do you remember what happened in the last chapter? We find that Silver has the map and Jim has the ship, so they can work together in order to find the treasure and go home safely. So why do you think Silver was frightened? Silver was frightened because he was afraid that the pirates wouldn't accept him as a captain of the ship. So because he didn't have a ship and he was not sure that the pirates would follow him. So the ship belongs now to Jim, and he was afraid that the pirates wouldn't follow him as a captain. Question number 2, how could Silver convince the pirates to let him be the captain again? Convince, what's to convince? Convince means to persuade, to make them do what he wants. إنه يقنعهم. How can he persuade them? How can he convince them to choose him as a captain? How can he make the pirates accept him as a captain? Of course, he showed them the map. He showed them that he had the map which will lead them to the treasure. Of course, it is very important weapon with him that he has the map. So he showed them the map in order to convince them to follow his orders. What did Dr. Livesey do when he found out that Jim lived with the gang? What did he do? What did Dr. Livesey do when he finds that Jim was living with the gang of pirates? Of course, he spoke to Jim first, then he got Silver to promise that he would look after Jim. He wanted Silver to promise that he wouldn't hurt Jim. Question number 4, why did Dr. Livesey look after the ill pirates? Why do you think that Dr. Livesey looked after the pirates when there is malaria, when there is a disease? He looked after them and he cared for them. Why do you think he did that? Why didn't he leave them to die? Of course, because he is a doctor and he has principles. He doesn't want them to die, and again because he wants to take them to the police. He wants to take them back home, and the police will arrest them and they will go for a fair trial. ان هم يتعرضوا لمحاكمة عادلة. He wanted them to have a fair trial, محاكمة عادلة. So he said that he wanted them to be well so he could take them back to England for a trial. And you know what's a trial? Trial اللي هي المحاكمة. And they will of course be guilty and they take their punishment. Why do the pirates choose to keep Silver as a captain? Why do you think that they choose Silver as a captain? Of course, because he has the map. He has the map and because he tried to help everyone on the ship. Why was it easy to get ill on the island? Of course, it was easy to get ill on the island because there was malaria. There was a dangerous disease called malaria, and the malaria is a disease which comes from mosquitoes. Now let's discuss some of the vocab which appeared in this part of the lesson. We have the word agreement. What's agreement? Agreement means a decision made by two or more people which can be written or announced. So when we reach an agreement, means we decide that we both will do something. We agree to do something together. So it's a decision that you made, either written or announced. Either you say it, that you agree with someone, or you write it. You write a contract, for example, that you agreed with someone. So agreement, اللي هو اتفاق. What about the word malaria? As you know, malaria is a disease. It's a disease caused by mosquitoes. What's mosquito? Mosquito is a small insect. Mosquito is a small insect which causes malaria. A disease caused by mosquito implanting parasites in the blood. What's a promise? What is the word promise? When I said, I promise I will visit you, I promise I will get you a present. What's a promise? Promise to say that you will do something. To promise someone to say that you will do something. You will certainly do something. What about the word nod? As you see here in the picture, he nodded. He nodded means he said yes. He nodded. So what's a nod? Nod is a movement of someone's head to give a sign of agreement. So when I say she nodded means she did this with her head. It's a sign to say yes. She nodded means she agreed. What about the word negotiate? What's negotiate? To negotiate means to discuss a situation. To negotiate with someone means to discuss a situation, to reach an agreement. So when we negotiate, we say you take this and I will take this in order to reach an agreement, discuss a situation to reach an agreement or satisfying results. Now let's answer some questions of the words which appeared in chapter 11. I asked Fadi if he wanted some sweets and his head saying yes. طالما إن هو he said yes يبقى he nodded his head ولا he shook his head. Of course, shook his head means he say no. He says no. But when I say he nodded means he said yes. So he nodded his head saying yes. Question number 2. Don't worry. I will phone you when I arrive. So don't worry. I will phone you. I threaten, I warn, I suggest, or I promise. Yes, very good. Of course, it's I promise. I promise I will phone you means certainly I will phone you. Question number 3, eventually. What's eventually? Eventually means at the end. Eventually, the two companies reached and signed a 2-year contract. Contract اللي هو عقد. طيب هما طالما ان هما they signed a contract معنى كده ان هما they reached an agreement. ان هما وصلوا لايه؟ الاتفاق. They reached an agreement and signed a 2-year contract. They reached an agreement. وطبعا the opposite of agreement is disagreement. Question number 4, they decided to until they reach an agreement. They decided to neglect, deny, negotiate, argue. To discuss in order to reach an agreement, this is argue or negotiate. Of course, argue means to have argument, means to have a discussion with shouting and the differences between people. But to negotiate means you try to reach agreement. So we can say they decided to negotiate. They decided to negotiate until they reach an agreement. بيتفاوضوا مع بعض. They decided to negotiate. Question number 5. People can get ill in countries with a lot of mosquitoes. Do you remember the word mosquitoes? Mosquitoes are kind of insects which carry disease called malaria. So people can get ill with malaria in countries with a lot of mosquitoes because mosquitoes carry the disease of malaria. Okay? But we have the word diabetes. طبعا diabetes اللي هو مرض السكر and hepatitis and we have dermatitis. hepatitis اللي هو التهاب الكبد. فهنا عندنا different kinds of disease, but malaria is a disease which is carried by mosquitoes. Question number 6. Look, that is the gold medal the athlete won in the Paralympics. Do you remember the word Paralympics? The Paralympics are sports for the disabled. So look, that is the gold medal the athlete won. Here I'm talking about the gold medal, about something. So after something we use who, where, whose, or which. Yes, very good. We use which, the gold medal, which. So we use which after something. When we refer to something, we use which. The gold medal, which. Number 7, the baker is the person. Here I'm talking about a person. So when we talk about a person, we use who. This is the person who makes bread. And you see that who is followed by a verb. The person who makes bread. Another question, a nurse is a hard-working person. A nurse is a hard-working person, is caring and reliable. Again, we are talking about a person, here the nurse. So a person who is caring and reliable. Of course, we can say a person that or a person who. Another question, Nadia wants to in the next Olympic Games. Nadia wants to take part in the Olympic Games. She wants to challenge other teammates in the Olympic Games. So she wants to complete, converse, or compete. Very good. Compete. What's a compete? Compete means a challenge other people. بتتنافس معاهم. She wants to compete in the Olympic Games. She wants to challenge other people in the Olympic Games. Winning the silver medal in powerlifting was his greatest obstacle, demerit, achievement, disadvantage. Of course, this is success, that you achieve a medal in powerlifting. So this is, yes, very good, it's achievement. What's achievement? Achievement is that you are able to reach your goals. You make something that makes you feel happy that you reached your goals. This is achievement. So winning the silver medal in powerlifting was his greatest achievement, was his greatest success. Now let's practice translating from Arabic into English. So translate into English. علينا أن نفخر بالرياضيين الأكفاء الذين فازوا بالميداليات في شتى البطولات. طبعا الفوكاب دي احنا كلنا خدناها في اليونت بتاعنا. علينا أن نفخر بالرياضيين. الرياضيين اللي هم مين؟ athletes. We are going to say we should be proud of our athletes. طيب athletes أنا عايزة أقول الأكفاء اللي هم clever. ممكن أقول عليهم clever athletes. الذين فازوا بالميداليات. فازوا اللي هي ايه؟ won. طب الذين هنا طبعا احنا خدنا who. لما اكون referring to someone هقول who. فعلينا ان نفخر بالرياضيين الاكفاء. We should be proud of the clever athletes who won medals. خدنا كمان كلمة medal. who won medals in various championships. البطولات or tournament بطولة or competition مسابقات. فشتى ممكن أقول different، ممكن أقول various. okay. كما يجب أن نعطيهم الرعاية الكافية. we should give them care. we should be careful about them. we should look after them. كي يحققوا المزيد من النجاح. to achieve more success. وخدنا كلمة achieve. تعالوا نشوف كده الترانسليشن. We should be proud of efficient athletes. أنا قلت clever athletes، فأنا لو مش عارف efficient ممكن أقول clever athletes or efficient athletes who won medals in various tournaments. various ممكن أقول بدلها different in different tournaments. طب مش عارف tournaments ممكن أقول championship. مش عارف championship ممكن أقول competition. We should also provide them with sufficient care. Sufficient means enough. يبقى ممكن أقول we should give enough care, sufficient care, due care, الرعاية اللازمة أو الكافية to achieve more success. Let's look at the vocab: efficient, various, sufficient, and tournament. tournament زي ما قلت لكم ممكن نقول بدلها championship، ممكن أقول بدلها competition، وكمان كلمة sufficient ممكن أقول بدلها enough، و various ممكن أقول بدلها different، و efficient كمان ممكن أقول بدلها clever. Now translate into Arabic. Some customers express their dissatisfaction. واحنا درسنا مع بعض how to make a complaint when you are dissatisfied. dissatisfied غير راضي، ف dissatisfaction عدم الرضا with goods اللي هي البضائع by complaints، واحنا خدنا كلمة complaint اللي هي الشكوى. So customer service should deal with these complaints seriously to please buyers. يبقى بعض الكاستمرز الزبائن أو العملاء بيعبروا عن عدم رضاهم بالبضائع دي بأن هم يعملوا complaints شكاوي. فالكاستمر سيرفيس اللي هم مسؤولي خدمة العملاء should deal with يجب أن هم يتعاملوا مع الشكاوى دي seriously بجدية. ليه؟ علشان to please buyers، عشان نسعد العملاء بتوعنا. زي ما احنا شايفين دي الترانسليشن بتاعتنا، يعبر بعض الزبائن عن عدم رضائهم عن البضائع بالشكوى، لذا يجب على ممثلي خدمة العملاء أن يتعاملوا مع هذه الشكاوى بجدية لإرضاء المشترين. يبقى يعبر اللي هي express عدم رضاهم اللي هي dissatisfaction، الشكاوى complaints، وطبعا deal with اللي هي يتعامل مع، ولإرضاء المشترين to please the buyers. اوكي يبقى ناخد بالنا ان احنا it's very important to translate from English into Arabic and from Arabic into English, so try to practice as more as you can. Now we are going to practice more about the vocab and the words which are often confused, but we are going to do that on the light board. Let's go together. Now we are going to talk about some verbs and some idioms related to the word head. You know the head, this is the head. So we can say, for example, nod. What is to nod? This is a verb. It means a movement of the head from this direction to this direction, upside and downside. What does it mean when you nod with your head? When I say she nodded her head, it means that she said yes. So nod means say yes. So it's a sign with your head to say yes. She nodded. She nodded means she accepted, she agreed, she said yes. What about the word shake? When you shake your head. When you shake your head, you move your head like this, from this direction to this direction. So when you shake your head, you say no. So when I say, I asked her to come with me and she shook her head. What does it mean? It means that she refused. She didn't want to come. She shook her head. The past of shake, shook. What about when I say turn head? Turn head. What's it to turn head? To turn head, it means to change your head in the other direction. So when I say this palace is very impressive, it turns heads, means it's very attractive. It's very attractive. So when you look at this palace, you turn your head in order to look to the palace, so it's very attractive. What about the expression, I can't make head nor tail? What does it mean? I can't make head nor tail. Means I don't understand this. When I say I can't make head nor tail of this question, means I don't understand this question. What about the word keep your head? To keep your head or to lose your head? When I say I keep my head, it means I keep in control. I keep calm. And when I say I lose my head, it means that I lost control. I'm nervous. Okay? So all these words are related to the word head. Nod your head, shake your head, turn your head. I can't make head or tail or keep and lose your head. As you have seen, we discussed together a summary of Treasure Island, chapter 11. We discussed together some of the characters, some of the questions, the vocab which appeared in this chapter, and we did revision on the whole unit. We revised the grammar part, the relative pronouns, and some of the vocab which appeared in our unit. Try to practice as much as you can, and till we meet again, wish you best of luck. Goodbye.
أولى ثانوي، فرصة جديدة وحلم جديد، وهنعديها بالتأكيد، وهنعديها بالتأكيد.